Hi. How are you? Are you feeling good? Had a great morning? Are you all a bit awake? Well, after that, I think you would be. We're starting off with an artist who loves to let his heart speak through music and also loves to connect with music, through music with musical groups. That's why you see all the instruments. There are a lot of performers on this stage. Um, Funny is that if he could be an animal, he would love to be as free as a bird, and I think we can find that free spirit back in his music. But his most special talent I want to tell you about, you probably won't know, is that he is able to blow on the vuvuzela while playing the Dutch national anthem on keys. But unfortunately, the vuvuzela was used in a crafting project, also known as a Sinterklaas surprise. Anyways, here accompanied by the CA band from the Netherlands, Jan-Willem van Delft.
Special introduction. Well, the band is setting up. We have Jean-Pierre, we have Torsten, Aaron, and Michel. Give them a hand. They're working very hard. I'm very grateful that they want to play this piece with me. Actually, I have to be honest and give us some grace or mercy. We didn't play this yet before. So actually, I just put the music on the stand for Torsten. So this is a kind of premiere. This is also what CA is about. Just have some experiment, practicing on stage. But we will do our very, very best and give everything we have. Okay, a little introduction for this piece. Recently, I moved with my family to another place in the country. And although the fact that the Netherlands are very small, it felt quite like an immigration. I have to recreate all my elephant pads, we say in Holland. It's like desire lines, I think, in English, or my familiar ways. One of the things that helps me is getting into nature, and it's very beautiful in our new environment. When I cycle around through creeks, through meadows and greenery, I finally end up at the river. And the river is a big gift for me. She always does something to me. The river reflects life. She comes from somewhere, flows slowly, sometimes quickly, and she finds a way through the landscape and disappears from view again. But she's always there. That gives comfort and gives hope that in this new environment, we will again ground and take root. The river.
Yes, thank you so much. I completely forgot to introduce myself. Uh, I'm Emily, and it's such an honor to be hosting all the artists today. And I know they're going to set up for some time, so I've prepared some weird questions because I like to get in your mind. And I really need you to think about them. Well, they come from this Dutch website, which is called Dilemma Dinsdag. And maybe some Dutch people are familiar with them. In English, they would translate to Would You Rather, but they're very weird. So every Tuesday, this website posts a Would You Rather. And it's just fascinating what we have in Holland. But would you rather bark like a dog every time somebody enters your house or wave to every person you see? But really think about it. So every time, even a stranger or friends from friends enter your house, you start barking like a dog. Or I have to wave, hi, every time. I want to ask you guys, what would you rather choose?
Waving.
Wave to everybody you see. Okay, and why?
Because maybe it's a nice gesture.
Yes, of course. Greeting everybody, very friendly. Last one before the artist. Would you rather speak all languages or be able to speak to all animals? And I think that's a very cool one. And also especially for CA, because there are so many bilingual people, and I want to ask somebody from the audience. What would you choose?
All languages.
And is there a specific language you'd like to speak?
Hebrew.
That's very cool. Thank you so much. What's the difference? Yeah. We'll think about that and come back to it later. Our next artist is a storyteller. We've seen him already yesterday, and he performs here a lot. We saw him on the screen with his bubbles, his dragon. And besides storytelling, he also writes poetry, especially haikus. He's a man that tells visual stories, and he uses objects such as bubbles, but also other stuff to tell them. But let's see what he has in petto for us today. Here from Scotland is Philip Noble.
Hi again. Well, this is a small film that I made about 4 or 5 years ago. I broke my ankle, so I was stuck with something to do. But I discovered a notebook by an anthropologist called Bernard Deacon, who had been in Vanuatu, that used to be the New Hebrides, and he had collected 90 drawings of sand pictures that the local people in some islands used to do. He recorded how to make about 5 or 6 of them, but I just spent the time working out how to make some more. So you see some sand drawings, all done just with one finger in the sand. I made a frame and used some caster sugar, actually. It's much easier. But the music also is interesting. It's my son's song, but in the chorus, all the family were together for my wife's 70th birthday, and he just taught us to sing it. So you hear the singing in the chorus. That's all my family, my children, my grandchildren, and all the rest of the family when it comes to chorus. It's called The Road, and that's a bit like the finger, but you'll get the rest. The sand drawings of Bernard Deacon. Thank you. It's coming.
Footsteps leave their wakes behind. Like around a fire, stories ignite and unfold. Without the walking, there is no road. Road is made by the walking, and footsteps leave their wakes behind. Like around the fire, stories ignite and unfold. Without the walking, there is no road. The road, the road, the road, the road. The road is made by a footsteps leave their wakes behind. Like around a fire, stories ignite and unfold. Without walking, there is the road, the road, the road, the road.
Well, that was so great. Our next artist is a new artist. It's her first time at CA this year. She is a Dutch visual artist, and she specializes in a lot, actually, such as wood and metal processing, drawing, painting, and much more. She calls herself adventurous and likes to travel a lot. She is inspired by the world and everything that moves us. Besides creating, she also enjoys dancing in warm summer rain. Very diverse artists. Please welcome from the Netherlands, Elisabeth Baron.
Hello, I'm Elisabeth. As she said, it's my first time here, and I'm very pleased, very moved by all the performances and all the creativity, so I'm very glad to be here. I was asked to give a workshop in clay, and I called it Intuitive Modeling in Clay. And I think it's important to become silent when thinking about words of God, a Bible verse. And when you become silent, you come closer to your heart and you come closer to God. And that's my starting point from the workshop. And then you see what it becomes. It always becomes something touches your heart. So you're welcome to visit my workshop. I have a film introducing myself and the work I do, so enjoy.
Hello, my name is Elisabeth Baron and I'm a visual artist and creative coach. I love to work with all kinds of materials to make an artwork, like fabric, wood, metal, clay modeling, painting or drawing. But I also like to reuse waste material and transform them into something new and beautiful, like this one. I start out with a theme, or I will challenge the boundaries of the material, or I just go with the flow and let me be surprised by what it becomes. My work is realistic with an alienating effect. It makes you think and raises questions like, who am I? Or what do you see? I love art and creativity, but mostly I love to empower others by using creativity. I also organize creative retreats where you enter the silence of the monastery, where you can discover yourself and your creativity. I was very touched by the photo and the main article of an Open Doors magazine. As a visual artist, the photo of the hands making the sign language for Jesus had a great impact on me. I had to make that. The secret echte sign, the fish, for a Christian is fairly well known, but this gesture, which is made to both hands, is unknown and so beautiful. I started investigating this gesture and I figured out what it means exactly. This sign stands for Jesus on the cross. The middle finger of one hand symbolizes a nail that goes in the other hand. Making hands is quite difficult, because the proportions and movements are complicated to imitate. But they succeeded, and I hope to inspire other people with them. Because it is a beautiful symbol for Jesus, and something quite different from the famous crucifix. I love to see this sign become more well known. This is the hand of God, and the flowers symbolize the people which he holds in his hand. Masks of the soul. This red elephant is called Follow Me and is a scale model. Eventually the statue should be about 2 meters high, so you can stand underneath it in the hollowed back. The visitor is challenged to experience and take a standpoint. The hollow inside is white and it says, I am. Who are you? The elephant's head is absent. You can stand between his ears and his head. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? What do you smell? What do you taste? Who do you follow? The elephant is a symbol of good cooperation, intelligence, and a very good memory. How do you work together? Who do you listen to? The red color stands for passion and love. Do you follow your mind or your heart? Creative silence retreats are valuable, inspiring, and full of eternal value. Together with Marianne, I organize and supervise these retreats. The participants often have to get used to the peace and quiet in the monastery, but during the weekend it is very much appreciated. You don't need to have a social talk with the others, but there are in-depth conversations. Through creative and meditative assignments, they may enjoy, be quiet, discover, share, learn, let go, grow, cry, laugh, paint and walk. By means of Bible texts, songs, celebrations and the lecture, we go more and more to the depths of our hearts. Thoughts and habits are released and replaced by new attention. Thanks to our wonderful participants, you are loved. Do you want to know more about my artwork or the creative retreats? Please contact me. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
This one working? Yes. Next up is a young talent, which feels very weird to announce since I was only one myself last year. He is a 25-year-old filmmaker from Germany, self-taught, and filmmaking is his profession, but his passion is for film photography. He likes to combine real stories with edgy and grainy pictures. He likes films experimental and that are different from the mainstream. His goal is to make films that matter for the greater good. And during the last year he was working in the industry, he collaborated with various artists and worked on different projects for big clients such as Audi and Porsche. Here from Germany, Alexander Ronsdorf.
Hi, thank you. Hi. Yeah, thank you for announcing me. It's cool to be here. My name is Alex. And I basically just want to show you some of my photos. And in the end, I want to show you a little teaser of a film project that I'm working on right now. So I don't know, can you turn down the lights a bit? I don't know if you can see that, right? I want to take you into my film photography. So that's basically the old cameras you get on eBay, or the old people still know from back in the day. This is one of the first pictures I ever took on film. It's the first roll, and I shoot film because it's so slow, because I work every day with digital. Yeah, and I just want to show you some of the process that I went through. So I pretty soon started to do portraits because I like to shoot people and have people in front of my camera. And this is my little brother. Yeah, and I just show you some of the pictures. And what I love about film is that I never edit them after I digitalize them, because every film has a specific look, and that's what, as I learned about it, that's the thing that I loved about it the most. Yeah, this is a project I did at the Nürburgring at the 24-hour race for Porsche. Yeah, it's like I do a mixture of portraits and documentary photography. And then I stepped up to another format. It's like a old Hasselblad camera with like a medium format film. And from that, from the moment I got the camera, I just started to shoot medium formats, basically straight. Yeah, and the cool thing about film photography is that you can do stuff like that. And this is basically unedited. It's just done in the camera. So you basically take two photos onto one negative, and then you have cool stuff like that, like double exposures. And this is, for example, a 30-year-old film. It's like, film actually has an expiration date. It can get old, and people normally don't use it anymore, but you could use it for like art purposes or experimental work, and that's why it has this like grain, or like I don't know if you can see that. And what I just recently started to do is to develop my film on my own and to scan it, and that's why I can scan like the whole roll like that. And I think that's pretty cool. And this is my last project I did in New York. I shot the behind the scenes for a music video there for a director I really like. And I had the cool thing was I was on set and could shoot portraits of all the models and all the talents there. And this is the director showing the talent how to use an AK-47 machine rifle. Yeah, and it's like a very futuristic film. I don't know if you have seen Space Odyssey 2001. It's like a big inspiration for the music video. Yeah. And with that, I want to come to the point that I do, as Emily said, I do film for a profession. And I was on that set because I really admire the director. And I really want to work in the way or in the sphere that he works in. And I want to show you guys a film teaser of mine after I showed you all the pictures. So it's like a very weird kind of music video. It's not out yet, and you actually see the pictures before everyone else, but don't show everyone. Yeah, so for the last 4 years, I did video and film work as a profession, and the next video I want to show you is a teaser for an upcoming project I want to do. It's like a documentary on a friend of mine who plays American football, and he got injured pretty bad a couple years ago, so bad that people and the doctor said you will never walk again, or not even, like, running is not even like 10 years from now, but we don't know if you will ever walk normally again, but yeah, he proved everyone wrong.
Le moment, quand je l'ai vu, je savais, c'est tout. La saison est terminée.
Die Comets kommen also mit dem Schrecken davon. Jetzt mit der eigenen Offense und Townsend holen alles raus, was er im Arm hat, und er sollte eigentlich intercepted sein. Aber die Unicorns von...
J'ai même pensé, peut-être, je ne peux plus marcher.
Leider folgte darauf der negative Höhepunkt des GFL-Wochenendes. Bei diesem Play verletzte sich Olivier Le Meledor von den Allgäu Comets schwer am Knie. Das war sogar ausgekugelt. Er musste eine halbe Stunde auf dem Feld behandelt werden. Die Partie war unter...
La doute, la peur, c'était mes parties adverses constantes. Tellement les douteurs, tellement orgueilleux, mais c'était même pas mes plus grands ennemis. Mon plus grand ennemi, c'était moi. Et même moi-même, je peux pas arrêter.
That was so cool. Really enjoyed that. We have lastly one more artist for you this morning, and then Leen is gonna tell you something. I'm sorry, I can't read my handwriting anymore. I remember writing this at 1 a.m. last night. Maybe not so smart. This man is a musician, producer, and also a painter. He's been here lots of times, so if you've been here also lots of times, you probably know him. He has over 45 of his own CDs with music and produced over 300 CDs of music for different artists for his own label, De La Raíz Multimedia. Recently, he discovered his love and passion he used to have for painting, so he picked that back up. He thinks it's important to take time for yourself in your own space or atelier. Anyways, today he's showing us clips from musicals where he made the music and also performing for us. Here from Spain, Luis Alfredo Diaz.
Okay, my broken English. So great. I remember the first non-Christian artist many years ago. But I remember one of my performances in Christian art maybe 20 years ago. I was singing a song about a man, a black man from South Africa. And all stories. And the lyrics of the song say something like, Desmond Tutu, Desmond Tutu. I want to have a white bishop that sing or dance just like you do. And after my performance this night was something like 25 years ago, I think. Huh? After my performance, I received many critics. Especially for one, the biggest box came to me and say, look, I don't like your song. Why do you sing about this guy? most of the people in this time don't understand that I was singing a political song in Christian artist. Just one fellow come to me and say, just one. This is the reason why I remain here in Christian artist. Just one fellow. I want to ask two friends, please come here, Igmar, and sit there. This is a chair for you. And a sister, where is my sister from Holland? Here, please. Igmar, are you here too? Yes. Please come here. Sit over there. Okay. I want to watch a video that I make for the lyrics, the words of a saint from the Catholic Church saint, recently accepted as saint, called Monsignor Romero. And I want to make a question just for my own curiosity. How many of you know who is Monsignor Romero? Who was? Okay? No many. No many. He know. No. Monsignor Romero was a bishop from El Salvador, Central America. He was ordained as bishop because he was a very traditional and, how could I say, very quiet guy. What happened with him? As soon as he started to see a lot of bad situation in his diocese, as soon as he started to see all kind of violence against disabled people, he was reconverted. And I like this word, to be reconverted. The first conversion was spiritual conversion, moral conversion. The second one was a social and political conversion. And I want to tell you, my brothers and sisters, do you want to be converted tonight, this morning? Do you want to be reconverted? Yes. Amen? Amen. So we are going to see a film, a video called La Palabra Queda, the words remain. Some are words from Monsignor Romero, say, maybe I will be killed. He was killed, finally. Maybe I will be killed, but my words remain. And I say, after you being dead, I hope that our words, your words, our words remain for the society, because has been transcendent enough. I know it's just pure hallelujahs. So can you put it, the first one? Que no haya resentimientos en el corazón, que no haya resentimientos en el corazón, que no haya resentimientos en el corazón. Yo comprendo que es duro perdonar después de tantos atropellos, pero sin embargo esta es la palabra del Evangelio. Yo comprendo que es duro perdonar después de tantos atropellos, y sin embargo esta es la palabra del Evangelio. Que no haya sentimientos en el corazón, que no haya resentimientos en el corazón, que no haya resentimientos en el corazón, que no haya resentimientos en el corazón. Amad a vuestros enemigos, haced el bien a los que os oyen y persiguen. Sed perfectos como vuestro Padre Celestial, que hace llover su lluvia y a iluminar con su sol los campos de los buenos y de los malos, a iluminar con su sol los campos de los buenos y de los malos. Que no haya resentimientos en el corazón, 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 que no haya resentimientos en el corazón. Okay, thank you. That was not the video that I was preparing anyway, don't worry about. But this song say that I hope that we didn't have resentment in our heart against anything, against the society, against the church, against anybody. So we need to have a grateful heart in order to live, in order to bring something good for the society, you know. It's very hard for people that do more social and political songs, songs with social implications, to have a funny song, funny heart. It's very hard because normally we have a lot of hungry against so bad things around the world. So I want to ask Ingmar, who has been doing the same kind of things, how you dealing with that? How do you was able, to produce songs, try to say to the society which is wrong, but with a pure heart, with a happy heart, with a happiness in your life?
Well, when I write songs, I write about what's in my heart, okay? And when I meet people, or I see, even on film or on TV, how, the world works, sometimes it becomes a song, okay? And the best songs I have ever heard, they have a strong message in it. Like, my first love as it comes to music was the Beatles. One of their members was John Lennon. And he changed, he was converted, I suppose, and started to write songs like Give Peace a Chance, which I translated into Swedish, of course. And the first translation I made, which I later changed, was Give Jesus a Chance. Ge Jesus en chans. But then I thought maybe Lennon wouldn't like me to put it that way, so I changed it back into Give Peace a Chance. Ge freden en chans. But to me, that is the same thing. Maybe it wasn't to Lennon, I don't know. I've only met him once, and I didn't ask that question. But that's the way it goes for me. Yeah. See?
I have my own one. Well, for me, I think it's a good example what Paul did yesterday. To mention the difficulties and all the social and the economical and the political things, and put it in a way that you say there is one who's taking care in all these things. So not to mention in every song, Jesus will save you, blah, 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 but just to mention the difficulties, to stand next to the people and to present that in a song as a Christian. And then I think you don't need to pronounce all these other things, but yeah, to say the things that it is, God is for everybody. God is in every society. God is also in politics. God is also in social life. God will be there and will help you in these things.
I want to show you another video, and just to third some words before we finish. That will be very quickly. This is another work that I do using the words, using the lyrics of Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And Dietrich has been a great inspiration for me for years. And I want to ask you, who was Dietrich Bonhoeffer for you, or what do you learn from Dietrich, and also Igmar also after?
A hero.
A hero.
He is, for me, a hero. The words he left behind are still bringing life in lives of people. And he went through the deepest darkness of life, and still he was proclaiming God. So for me, he's a hero. For me, he is the one who is telling the story of God through the mystery of life and through the mystery of being still a Christian in faith. We don't have clear answers. He didn't have clear answers. No. But he proclaimed God is there and he's with me.
He was killed?
He was killed, yeah.
Killed as Oscar Romero?
Yeah.
What an end for heroic men.
A secret. A secret to give your life. A secret to be killed and still feeling love. And still proclaiming who God is. And still spreading the things, the gospel, through his words and through the depth of difficulties in your life. He paid the price, of both of them paid the price of their lives. And I only assume that you can feel these feelings when you do that.
Right.
And they both gave a legacy to us, that it's possible in suffering to cling on Jesus, to cling on God.
Amen.
Amen.
Igmar. Dietrich.
I think Dietrich Bonhoeffer, he also spoke on behalf of the church. And he really represented the church the way he thought it should be, you know. Many times I'm so disappointed.
He was one of the few who did this in his time.
Yes.
The few ones.
Yes, and he did. And it cost him his life, okay. And of course, again, Jesus spoke up against injustices, religion of his time.
Okay.
And injustices as far as politics also. And of course, he gave his life also because he spoke out, you know, and that cost him his life. All my heroes have died.
What a sentence. This is a good...
That's a song that I wrote.
Come on.
Yeah, and the first verse is about John Lennon, okay? Second one is about Martin Luther King.
Okay.
All my heroes have died, he died. And the third one is about Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay.
Okay. But one who was crucified, he keeps me alive.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Oh Dios, temprano en la mañana, oh Dios, temprano en la mañana, ayúdame ayúdame a orar y a pensar solo en ti. No debes estar solo, en ti hay tinieblas, pero en ti hay luz, en ti hay luz. Oh Dios, temprano en la mañana, oh Dios, temprano en la mañana, clamo a ti, clamo a ti. Estoy solo, pero tú no me dejas. Soy tu corazón, pero tú no me dejas. Estoy solo, pero en ti hay paz. En ti hay tiniebla, pero en ti hay tiniebla. Tus caminos sobrepasan tu entendimiento, pero tú conoces tu camino por mí. Oh Dios, temprano en la mañana, oh Dios, temprano en la
It is not easy when you're an artist and you choose indeed to address the injustice of our world. And it's a dangerous road because so easily you can step into pure propaganda or condemnation, and you just have to stay in between. And still you need to address. I think Louise is very well able to do that in a beautiful way. And we have to think about the heroes of our society, of our era, who died for right and good causes. The whole history of our church of 2000 years is full with heroes who died for a good cause. Too often we think life must be happy clappy. Well, welcome to reality, it's not. But if you have a great moment, enjoy it totally. Live life. It all hangs together with motivation. So Mara, it's incredible motivation. This bishop, and he was shot, Bonhoeffer, was shot because he was motivated for the right thing, to do the right thing. Another form of motivation has to do with your artistic life. We have with us Adrian Snell. Please come sit with me. He's always a little bit afraid about me, that, you know. So we have a sort love-hate friendship, but no. Just here. And just to explain why...
Thank you. My English also is not so good.
So very good.
Try very hard.
No. Let's say, we hope when you're an artist that your lives go in a straight line forward, from glory to more glory. But when is it happening? And if I look to the life of Adrian, I think we go back till 84 probably, first time at CA. you came with your wife and little children, and you were in one of the cabins.
And it caught fire.
Yeah.
Had a fire in the caravan, and it was.
Oh,
I never stayed in a caravan since.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. by the way.
Yeah. We are happy to help. But so I see 3 phases in his life. So the question is how you maintain motivation. So the first phase is he studied his professional music. He's a great artist. Album after album, show after show, finally even, I mean, the passion with the BBC orchestra, recording with the full orchestra, all that stuff. We have seen him here in the Netherlands in the late 80s with all the major shows. I was happy to organize it and pay the bills.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you still owe me some money.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that.
So that's one side. And then slowly, it looked like Adrian faded away. That was of course not, but there was a change. And he studied music therapy, and he became a teacher in music therapy for, I will use the good word, less gifted people, to say it very politely. It's more or less...
I wouldn't put it like that, but we'll come to that in the interview.
Yeah, okay. And then shortly ago, a new album came out, and then now and then you can see him again back as well in the Netherlands in concerts. So my question is, how have been your feelings in those, I think there was 3 major changes, and what kept you going? I think it's amazing.
I'm not sure that you have much choice in the matter sometimes.
Yeah.
It's life that takes you in certain directions. And what I do know is that in around 1999, I look back on the sort of 25 years that I'd been doing what I did, and I asked myself the question that an awful lot of artists ask, which is this it? Is this how it goes on? You know, will my audiences get smaller? Will the albums sell fewer? Or will there be, huge successes to come? But basically, is this it? Is this my life until I can't stand up anymore? And there were some personal things going on for me too, but what I do remember feeling was that for all their joys and excitements and successes, there was also a deep sense of loss, I think, for me, of the joy in that kind of communication, of the joy in not just creating, but working with other people to produce an album, to produce a tour, to all the business of putting on a concert. And also the frustration that I didn't feel in 1999. I still didn't feel that I was actually meeting or reaching the kind of public that I longed to reach, which was much wider than just the world of Christian people. So I came to this transition point, I think, of realizing that it wasn't enough. And actually, it was the memory of a lecture at De Bron, Christian artists, when we were there, that came to me at that time, and it was a music therapist, and her name was Gefka Kolblot. Maybe you guys remember her.
Yeah.
And I just remembered in this time of, it was like a big pause for me, just stopping and thinking, what's life to be? And I remembered her lecture, and it had been many years before, but she had spoken, she'd introduced music therapy that I had not heard of before. The words fitted, music therapy. For most of us, it makes sense. But as a profession, I didn't know there was such a profession. And she, on stage for 20 minutes, spoke about her work. And her work was particularly at that time with working with men who were in prison for violent crimes, and they were in a psychiatric division of a high-security prison. And she described one of the sessions that she would have with these men using drums, and how they would have a drum battle, and how the rules were only this: you can't harm each other and you can't harm the instrument. And that's, of course, great with the drum because it's designed to be beaten. And she described the drum battle and then the post-drum battle process of looking at what had happened, what feelings were generated, and then going back to the drums, but this time trying to find a way of speaking to each other through rhythm, through give and take, etc. And that was, for me, the memory that triggered the thought, okay, so this makes sense. Maybe this is the next chapter of my life. It's still absolutely embedded in music, but this time it's about becoming the facilitator for others to find in music the way of communicating, expressing themselves, finding a language that isn't about words. And that's what led to the sequence of events that got me to train and then now practice.
Yeah. If I look to back to the 80s, the Christian artist seminars, in those days, for you have never been there, we had quite a lot of Americans. Scott Wesley Brown, Sandy Patty, people like that. Nobody knows their names now, but they were very famous. Today, they are still alive, but more or less only they sing in the church. And Sandy Patty now and then does an opening of a mall, you know, and things like that. And I feel that's very sad that it almost seems they disappear in oblivion. And I think Adrian is an example that there is more life after you have gone through some glorious moments of your career. So I don't think you think about yourself today, it is less as before. Now, how would you describe that? Because that may help more people today how to cope with life when you get older and you're not invited anymore.
Okay, so this is very important, I think, because what I can say is that the process of training to be a music therapist and then for the last 15 years or so practicing as a music therapist has brought me back to the world of writing, recording and performing in the most profoundly integrated way. What I feel now is that the writing reflects, if you like, that journey that I'm writing, I hope, with a greater depth, a greater understanding of people and their needs. And the word integration is really important, because what I do believe as a Christian is, and if I didn't believe this, I'm not sure that I would continue with my faith, it's redemption. It's the concept that everything we are, everything we do, the good, the bad, and the ugly, God actually uses to build something better. And if we didn't believe that, then we are really quite lost, because all of us have so many falls and so many failures and so many disappointments. So I believe that God says, no, I take the disappointments and the failures and the doubts, and I will remold them into something very beautiful. So I think what happened for me is that for those years when I was fully prepared to say I don't ever record again, and I don't care anymore about whether I'm going to do any concerts, I think what happened was gradually I rediscovered music through a different lens. I rediscovered music as a language between people. And then very slowly, but very definitely, that began to become songwriting. Songwriting with the people I was working with, and then my own reflection on what I was doing. So the whole approach to sound and writing and music and my thinking process has changed. I should just say that the people I work with primarily are children and young people with, we say in England, special needs, additional needs. And that could be anything from on the autistic spectrum to people with physical disabilities and learning difficulties, everything in between. And some of them are very, very gifted. So it's not about the talent so much as the difficulty with communication and self-expression. And what I do as a music therapist is I work with these young people to try and help them find a different way of saying what it is they want to say. And that, of course, feeds into my own journey as well. And I hope that the writing and the recording, and therefore the performing that I'm now doing, reveals this integration of the whole story. And it is now with so much more peace. That's the other point. I think when you come back to something with a renewed vision, then there is a peace about it that it is not anymore filled with the anxiety of, is this going to work? And will people like it? And will they come? And will they buy? And there's something very, very beautiful about that process that God does of integrating our past and our present and then sending us out into the future.
You feel now more at peace with yourself, your gifts, and what you think you should do for society?
I feel no longer the need to prove myself. I mean, artists, we live with that all the time, don't we, basically? We are looking for people's approval. I mean, that goes without saying, because if we don't have approval from people or interest in what we do, then they don't come and they don't look. So the problem with that is that sometimes that becomes such a burden to carry that it starts to have a profound effect on the art we make. Because if truly, you know, our desire is to be approved of, and especially if we want to make a living out of it, so we need to sell what we do, then to some extent we are driven by what an audience expects of us. I think that the privilege I have had is that having moved into a different profession, a music therapist profession, and then come back to the world of writing and recording, I really don't feel that burden of the need to be approved of anymore. I do feel the need to be completely honest. I feel the need to write music that is absolutely the music I want to write, but I don't feel that longing to be approved of, and I think that's what brings the peace.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you know I can stand up and deliver something that comes from my heart and that God approves of the honesty. And I've learned, I think this is a very important thing. I think self-awareness is a huge, important thing about us and how we become more aware of who we really are. I think the one thing that I am still learning, but making some progress on, is forgiveness. And I mean forgiveness of myself here. Understanding what that actually means if you can live day by day with a sense of you are forgiven, because we are driven by so much self-doubt and so much self-accusation, most of us, that learning to forgive yourself and believing that even the next minute can be a new minute is an incredibly important part of this sense of peace and vision and moving forward in a positive way and not burdened by guilt, in a way.
Yeah. Thank you. Give Adrian a big hand. Honest talk.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah. We need those honest stories that will help you in your future. I want to close to read with you the verse of today, because it puts us all together. Quote from Romans, I'm not ashamed of the gospel, because it's the power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes. And from Timothy, for God did not give us a spirit of timidity, but a spirit of power, of love and self-discipline. And I pray that those texts will guide you through the rest of the day and your life. God bless you. Have a nice meal.